Yes, thank you. Welcome to Conservative America. My name is John Estrata, and today we have our guest what's the name of your program?
Blue Cobra USA. My name is Blue Laker.
We've got a very interesting show today. We're going to be talking about solar, maybe nuclear, and also some stuff that's happening internationally. And also, we can always talk about Republican leadership or inaction by the Republican leadership. So, Lou, what do you think this thing with Korea and this guy that passed away, Otto, passed away, and you got they released him, and then a day or two days later he died. So
yeah, well, Otto was obviously they knew what was going to happen. I don't know if they were able to tell that just by his mental condition or whether or not they gave him something that they knew was going to take effect. It was just taking a few days longer, and one of those things that works like that is antifreeze. Antifreeze is colorless, can't smell it, and it can be injected very easily, put it in some water, whatever, and it takes time, and what happens is it basically turns your blood into a paste. It basically clots the blood, and it takes time to work, but it does work, and you can estimate how long it's going to be before the victim dies. Usually it's 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, depending on how much of a dose that you got. So, in my opinion, they knew what they were doing, and they thought, well, it's better for him to die over here than to die over there. And not that they were doing anything charitable, but, you know, they knew what was going to happen. So I don't think that they're doing anything humanitarian or as a donation of good faith, but whatever it was, they failed. And now we have to concern ourselves with other people that perhaps are over there and being treated in the same way. After all, he was only accused, and when I say accused, of taking a sign, a propaganda sign down over something, and that was it.
Well, I've got a question for you, Lou. If North Korea is such a bad enemy or a bad problem for the United States, why do we still allow visas for American citizens to visit there?
I don't know, but I do know that the company that issued him the passport or whatever it was that they're not doing that anymore. They're not permitting people
Go into
North Korea.
And is that all U.S. citizens can no longer go into North Korea?
Well, you know, I mean, there's a million places that a person can go. Why go to North Korea?
Yeah.
You know, there's no real rhyme or reason to do that. But, you know, people do stupid things. Now, I'm not saying Otto was stupid. I'm just saying that, I mean, maybe
he made a fatal mistake.
He made a fatal mistake, and, you know, if he had gone over there for humanitarian reasons to negotiate something, you can't, because those people go by the book.
You know, the amazing thing is, you know, many people have said that the leader of North Korea is not crazy. But I tell you what, some of the stuff he does, it sure seems like he's crazy. It's just like he's playing Russian roulette, or what's they call it? You know, he just keeps. He's sort of like what happened to the leader in Iraq, Saddam Hussein. You know, he kept saying, "Oh, I have weapons of mass destruction and this and that," and you know, and
you do what you can to protect your country, and if you know, making people think you have something, it's one thing, because North Korea could be doing the same thing. The only difference is North Korea has shown the display of men and weapons and has obviously had practice sessions with missiles, and we know they have them, and we don't know who they're in bed with, and some of the new technology that they're displaying didn't come from North Korea, it came from someplace else.
I think we already know who that is. That's Iran. Iran and
What about China?
China's a possibility, but I'm not so sure China would take that risk. I think more of Iran. Because China, even though they got the fist down on North Korea, I don't think they trust them very much.
They may not trust them very much, but they're trading partners, so,
But they're going to give them a weapon of mass destruction. I don't know.
the
Chinese, I think are extremely long-term vision. They want to be around for the next 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years.
Well,
and so
that may be true, but by the same token, North Korea is not going to attack their China as an ally. First of all, they don't have the strength, but the combined strength of North Korea and China's got millions and millions of people, billions of people, and the biggest country in the world, at least by population, and North Korea is right beside them.
Sure.
And then there's the South Seas and Taiwan,
Japan,
all those Asian countries right there, and they represent a tremendous amount of power.
Well, one of these missiles that is launched out that is carrying a nuclear device, a nuclear warhead. What happens if some technology issue arises and it messes up, it goes the wrong way? That could happen.
Well, accidents do happen, and provocation causes action. So it's not necessarily. We don't know why haven't they fired anything yet. Well, there's a reason. Either they're waiting or bidding their time to get stronger, or they haven't provoked them up to make it happen. Because just yesterday we had Russia buzz one of our planes, and so not that we're going to do anything with Russia, because that would be simply foolish. But if we're going to do something with Russia, it's going to be not as adversaries.
Let me say this: we have been playing chicken with the Russians since the Cold War. When I was in the Navy, we played chicken with frigates out there in the Sea of Irkutsk, where we had missiles aimed at them, they had missiles aimed at us, and we were at general quarters, they were at general quarters, and it was a very stressful, intense situation, and either side could have made the wrong move, and it would have been over.
Well, we have seen that sort of happen so many times here in this country. Bunkerville, for example, same thing. And, so there's lots of incidents like that. The problem that we have is the world is so large and there's so many people that it's very hard to keep them all under control.
Yeah. Well, I think that Russia will continue to play chicken with us, and we'll continue to play chicken with them. And even if there is, let's say, an accident, I just don't think that Russia, United States, or China will get into a major conflict. Maybe a minor one, but I don't see them going against each other in a major way.
Well, I don't see them going against us. I see them working with us to make things happen.
Sure.
And it really makes a lot of sense because we have more in common with those people than most of the other nations that we do business with. And so why do we need to fight? Why is it that all of this talk, if you look at the long run, and all of this talk is devised to cause dissension and diversion here in the United States, and I'm talking about the Democrats versus the Republicans. That is just as big an issue as Russia and America.
Well, let me get a little emotional here real quick. Why is it? Why is it that when Obama was president, they had free trading going on with Russia, uranium, all kinds of stuff. It didn't become a problem until President Trump took office. Now it's a big deal with Russia. But they were dealing with, in fact, that secret little conversation that he had with one of the big leaders of Russia, Obama, and in a whisper, but it was a hot mic, and they picked up that message where he said basically, "You let the election go by, and then we can really do something." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, what he said was that when I
Get reelected or whatever.
get reelected, I'll have more flexibility.
There you go.
Okay, but the point is that, first of all, Obama may have been stretching it and trying to win some points, because if you remember when he went over there, none of the Russians would even shake his hand. And so he wasn't on good terms with Russia to begin with. On the other hand, Trump likes Putin and Putin likes Trump.
I think so. I think so.
And
you know what? I think he likes a Chinese leader too, and the Chinese leader likes him too. So I think dealing with the largest superpowers in the world, I don't think we're going to have issues with them. It's the smaller countries like North Korea and some Iran. We're probably still going to have some dealing we have to do with Iran, but because supposedly they're still financing a lot of the terrorism in the world.
well,
And the sad part about it, the United States just handed them over a ton of money just recently.
we gave Iran billions of dollars to stop their nuclear program or something like that, but they didn't do that. They just took the money. And I guess really the thing that bothers me the most is, where do we get all this money to give to this one and to that one? We're going to spend $81 billion to send 4,000 troops into Syria. Is it Syria? No, not even Syria. Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Afghanistan. $81 billion to do what?
But see,
What are we going to achieve?
Lou, that's the tip of the iceberg. They've already given so much money to Afghanistan already. They've probably given up close to $1 trillion already.
Well, what do we gain? What do we get in return? Do we get our money back? Do we get better relationships with them? What do we get? And after we bomb everything, what the hell's there to get?
Okay, let me ask you this. Why not have some very wealthy Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia finance this regional conflict? Have them put up the money. The United States could use the military, put up the military, but they should finance the war.
Well, there's so many countries that it's hard to keep track of. And here's,
And then
what about Israel? Israel, we give them tons of money.
Yeah.
No, it's not. We don't even know how much money we've given it, plus armament and all the planes and weapons of mass destruction. And
well, it's like
how many countries can we supply?
Well, I think there's big needs here in the United States, and our infrastructure is pitiful. And so, domestically, we could definitely use more resources. And that's the problem, is that we're $20 trillion in debt. And then they want to do all these other improvements. It's probably another 5 trillion, 10 trillion.
I may have mentioned this to you the other day when we were talking, but the $81 billion that they want to use for the expansion of Afghanistan, and again, I don't know what the hell the purpose is, the end result, but $81 billion is a third of what it would take to build the infrastructure here in the United States that would take care of the needs of this country for 100 years.
Yeah.
And we don't have the money.
Oh, they'll print more money.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Sooner or later, somebody's going to call us on it, and when we can't put up, we're going to have to shut up. And when we shut up, we're going to shut down.
Well, I know there's certain people that have been talking about another bust in the bubble, and so you never know.
It's going to come. I mean, paper dollars are worthless. There's nothing backing them. There's nothing at all. We've given a lot of our resources to some of these other countries who have invested in it, natural resources, parks and things of this nature. And we're talking national parks and so forth, that that there's a mortgage on, and we're going to run out of things to buy them off with. And number one, and number two, why? Why do we want to continue to climb the deficit of the debt when we should be thinking about how we can reduce it, how we can make money?
Okay, well, what it is that our elected officials in Congress keep spending money, and a lot of that money goes into their districts. And the reason
it goes into their pockets.
And well, that too. But what it does is it makes the local people, wherever their congressional district is, feel like they're doing something for them. So it's another free ticket for another 2 years or 4 years or 6 years, depending on what they're, either 2 years or 6 years, depending on what they're doing. So it's a game. But everybody it's a money making game. Everybody makes money along the way. The media makes money. The politicians make money.
But the people don't.
The people are the ones that finance it.
Well, that's what it gets back to, is that we're financing all of this, and we're not sitting at the bargaining table when this is taking place. We find out, just like Nancy Pelosi said, let's pass it and then we'll read it later. Okay. Well,
that has to be one of the classic political stupid statements of all time.
Well, we're just as stupid because we're letting them do these things, and
but you know what? We're not doing that, and I think the rest of most of the country is not allowing them to do it, because I tell you what, the Democrats over the last 10 or 12 years have lost a lot of power because of that.
Well,
they've lost they lost the presidency, they lost the U.S. Senate, they lost the U.S. House of Representatives, they lost the statehoods, the governorships. They've lost and lost and lost. And 2018, they're going to lose again if they don't get their act together. Well, and that's fine with me. I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem, except that now they're going after the Republicans, and as you probably noticed on television last night, they have actually put out Hunt for Republicans. Now, hunting for Republicans basically means kill them.
Well, you know what? To me, it's like the movie The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, where that scene is the one guy comes in with a knife and the other guy's got the gun. He says, you come to a gun battle with a knife, and that's what it is with the Democrats. The Democrats have the knife, and the Republicans have the guns. And it would be a total disaster for them on that front too. So I don't think. In other words, they can put out all that kind of message, and sooner or later, the right will utilize the U.S. Constitution and the right of defense.
Well, keep in mind that she got the popular vote. Now you got to remember who the popular vote is with that. Because the popular vote was the poor and underprivileged, and maybe not entirely, but the mass majority of the Democrats are on subsidies.
Well, you know what? It's two major areas: California and New York. Okay, but it was not. But the big bulk of the population that put her over the top was primarily California, and so California, from what I understand, is there was a lot of illegals that voted in that election.
Of course.
That put up those numbers more than what they should have been.
Well,
so
that the population of California, the majority is not Caucasian.
Well, to me, the ethnicity to me is not the issue.
Sure.
It's the issue is whether or not you're legal or illegal.
Well,
in other words, if you're like, for instance, my ethnicity is from Mexico, but what loyalty do I have to Mexico? Zero. My loyalty is here to America because this is where I was born. This is where I was raised. This is where I served my country in the United States Navy. This is where I've been very politically active in conservative philosophy for 50, almost 40, 50 years. So I'm, but there's a lot of people like me that are just like that.
Well, that's true, but there's 20 million illegals or more.
Well, the problem is that Congress has allowed this to go on. It's Congress's fault. That's their job to do immigration. Okay? They failed. They have totally, Congress has failed the immigration issue from day one. Okay, in '86, Ronald Reagan had the amnesty. They passed that. There was a big deal that, okay, this is going to be the last time we're going to have an amnesty. And here we go again. Now, they put themselves in a big box again. And so they're going to have all kinds of trouble because they said they weren't going to make amnesty, but now they've allowed so much to go through, open borders, problems. Immigration is a total disaster. The farmers in California need workers. And let's face it, citizens aren't going to go out there and fight the 110, 112 degree weather. They're not going to do it.
Well,
who's going to pick the crops?
Well, no, I think that's a fallacy. Okay, we can find people to pick crops even if we have to use criminals, and we don't have to use people on death row. We have more than enough people to pick. And if you pay people properly, you have more than enough.
And they are. They're paying $15 an hour, and they still are having a hard time getting workers out there. It is tough business out there. Like, go out there right now and stand in the sun for an hour and see what happens. Like me and you, we probably couldn't do it. But young folks, now, when I was a youngster, I did that. I picked. I picked grapes. I picked tomatoes. I planted flowers. I picked strawberries. I did a lot of stuff when I was during my breaks off from school. But that's that's a young person's job.
You can't say that Americans won't do it because they will. If they have to, they will.
They have to. Right now, somebody has to do it, and they're not doing it.
If they take them off welfare, if they don't give them any food stamps, they don't have any unemployment benefits to collect, they'll do something to live. And
are you trying to tell me that Americans are spoiled?
I would say that they're spoiled with the subsidies that are being provided.
And that's why they're voting for Democrats, is because they're getting all these subsidies.
Exactly.
And so now what's happening with Democrats, they're running out of people to give subsidies. So that's why they want illegals to come into the United States.
That, of course, is not going to fly because we have a deficit, and the reason for the deficit is that we have too many expenses that we can't pay for. And as long as we continue to provide subsidies, if 60% of California are on subsidies, that means 40% of the people in California are paying for those subsidies.
Do you admit that we have a major problem in California going on right now?
We have a major problem in California. We have a major problem here in Nevada because they again, look what turned the tide here. It was the vote. And whether it's illegals or primarily illegal, because we've been inundated with people from, especially Mexico. Not to say that we don't have a lot of Asians, because we have a lot of Asians.
Well, I think more Asians are coming in today than Mexicans. But the point is it's been going on for such a long time, and Congress hasn't dealt with it because they pass it on to the next Congress, the next Congress, the next Congress, or the next president, and so nobody does anything in Washington except to collect a paycheck.
Well, I agree with that, but if somebody's got to put their foot down.
I think that was one of the big reasons why Donald Trump got elected, because people believe that something was finally going to be done with the immigration issue.
Yep.
Now, he might not get everything he wants, but at least something was going to be moving in that direction, and I think that's what people want. I know there's.
I don't think they're going to be satisfied with a partial bill. We have to do what he has said.
Well, first of all, building a wall, to me, that's no problem. That's easy.
It's wrong.
Building a wall is wrong?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it doesn't produce any income. I'll explain that in a second, but right now I need to take a little break. So you got the mic for a minute or two.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Okay, Luke. Thank you very much. Well, this has been a really interesting conversation we've had with Luke, and there's many different ways to solve these issues. And the big thing right now is finances. You know, who's going to pay the bill? You have, with the idea of creating more jobs for Americans, is a good one because, of course, you create more jobs, you're going to have more taxpayers, and more taxpayers means that the bill is being paid, at least not on the backs of a few, but a lot more. But to me, I think making America safe is the number one mandate for all Congress, the president. That's their job. I mean, everything else is secondary. The locals could do a lot of stuff. The states, the cities, all the regional areas can do a lot more. But the federal government, their main responsibility has to be defense of America and to keep it safe, protect the borders, immigration, and for years and years and years, they're not doing anything on immigration. They talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about immigration. Even as of today, you don't see too many people in Congress right now even dealing with the immigration issue. And it should be. You know, immigration is vital. We have to know who's coming in, who's going out. You know, it's not fair to those people that have been waiting in line for years and years and years to be Americans. They want to be Americans. And, you know, frankly, if you want to be an American, hey, I'm first for that. I support that. I don't mind immigrants coming to the United States because I totally support that. However, there has to be a process and a number. You can't just have open borders. It's just not a good policy. You got to make sure there's no health issues that come into the United States. It just goes on and on and on of things that we need to consider when immigration. It's a very complex process, and but it needs to be dealt with. But the safety and security of the borders is vital. Not only on the south part of America, but the north part too. During 9/11, the terrorists came in through Canada. So, yeah, we can clap down and build walls and build borders and put all these resources on the south part of America. But guess what? People go around and come in through the north. So we got to be very, very smart and protect all the borders, protect all the ways coming in and going out, and making sure that we don't have bad characters coming in here to causing harm. Because let's face it, they're jealous. And they don't like our way of life. And so they'll do whatever they can to destroy it. So we have to be smart, be safe, and it's going to cost money, but hey, we got to do that. We got to keep us solve that problem, and you know, let's help America be safe. So the other main issue that we could talk about today is. Well, first of all, this is Conservative America, and we take calls. So if you want to call in, you can call 559-803-0555, and we'll put you on. You can ask a question, make a statement, get involved in the dialogue. That would be very, very important. The other thing, too, is that I have a YouTube channel that once the broadcast is over, I post it on my YouTube. And my username is John A. Estrata. And you can go ahead and subscribe to this Conservative America. We will appreciate that because the more people, more audience that we have, the more impact we can have in America. Then again, you need to get more information anytime. That number, you can reach me at that number anytime, 559-803-0555. My name again is John Estrata, and you're listening to Conservative America. We broadcast Monday through Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. And we want this to be an interactive process, and we want to promote and advocate conservative agenda, conservative views, and basically solve some of the problems, or solve as many problems as we can in America. Right now, too much of our problems are being put off for the next generations, and that's not wise. I'm a grandfather, I'm a father, and I don't want this problem to be put off to my children, my grandchildren, or their children, or their grandchildren, because we made the mess. I think we should solve the problem. That's one of the big lessons that I give my grandchildren all the time, is I says, you know what, everybody makes messes, but the issue is you have to be able to clean your messes up after you make them.
That's right. The best time to do the dishes is right after you eat.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Lou, what do you think? We got into a couple of issues there. Let's go to the.
I'll ask you some questions, and then let's do the old Ben Franklin tea.
Okay. Oh yeah, sure.
All right. And unfortunately, we probably don't have enough. We don't have any paper or something to write it down on.
Oh, there's the Ben Franklin close.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that we decided we're going to build a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so now we have the cost of the wall. And you say, well, okay, next thing we're going to pay for it. Well, they've been reluctant to pay for it, and it doesn't look like they are going to be willing contributors.
Well, but see, and that's the issue. Willing or not willing, it doesn't matter. We have the leverage to charge them. For instance, okay?
Yeah, I know.
There is millions and millions of dollars that go from here, the United States, into Mexico. A lot of money flows down there. Families send money to Mexico to help Mexico out, okay? Why not charge 10%? Whatever money goes down there, and then charge them for all that money that flows down there.
I'm not saying that we can't, okay, but the difference is this, okay? First of all, let's talk about a wall. First of all, a wall is going to have to be constructed. Now, the Chinese built a 6,000-mile wall in 100 years. So, of course, back then it was a little more difficult. They had to do everything with mule, horse, or by hand, and it was not only long, it was high and mighty.
That was a mighty wall.
Yes.
I don't think they're ever going to make a wall like that again.
I would expect, but you got to remember at the same time, when they built that wall, it wasn't just a wall. As a matter of fact, they had communities and military outposts along the way.
Yeah.
6,000 miles is not something that you can arbitrarily say, well, I guess they're not going to come over here. You know what I mean? Because that's just exactly where they'll come over. So the point is that they had to have settlements along the way in order to support that. Now, so the Chinese wall, although a good example, is not a good example because that's not what we're thinking about here. They're thinking about basically a chain link fence, kind of, okay? Maybe a little bit more elaborate than that, but not much more. And the point is that doesn't get the job done. Here's the reason why. First of all, they can cut holes in it, and it doesn't matter whether they make it out of sheet metal or rebar, it doesn't matter. We have tools today that are portable, are able to cut through anything.
Well, I think it goes further than just a wall. It's a type of people we want coming into the United States.
Well,
the drug trade, we don't want that into America.
Well, they're going to figure out another way. come by submarine or something else.
Well, and
Or
then
they'll
that's,
fly over the
we gotta close those loopholes.
Well, we can do our best to get them closed. However, it's getting to the point where I was going to explain to you how this is done, but I needed to ask you some questions.
Sure,
First,
go ahead.
the very first one is this: is the wall going to produce any income? And other than these fees and so forth that you might impose upon them, which are, in my opinion, not realistic. What you really want is a hidden fee, if it were, or something that they'll do voluntarily because there's benefit for them. And when there's benefit, then they don't mind.
Well, I mean, I think there's other finance resources available, export, import fees, there's a lot of tariffs, there's a lot of stuff that can go, anytime somebody visits here, you get charged of. There's a lot of stuff that can go on to finance that wall.
Even with that, with tariffs and so forth, they're still going to find ways to dig holes or something and bring the merchandise in without having to pay for it. So that's not what I'm talking about. I want people to come in here voluntarily because there's a benefit for them to come in here, whether it be goods that they can get or whatever.
Well, people are actually coming over to work, to live in America,
Well,
and they're willing.
We don't want that. That's
but they're willing to die for it.
Well,
they're very motivated.
John,
they're very motivated to do that.
I can't help that. Well, look, we're motivated to keep them out. Okay, all right. And otherwise, we have nothing but open borders. Without open borders, so many presidents have said this. With open borders, you have no country. You have no country. So what are we to do? Continue this? To have the Mexican population come up here and live, take back California, Arizona, and Mexico?
And that's just the issue that we were talking about a few minutes ago. When is Congress going to do their job?
Congress can't do the job without doing something. Faith without work is useless. It's dead.
But immigration is their job. That is their job, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it. They've not been doing it for like 20-something, 30 years.
If there's reason, and again, we're getting off subject here a little bit. The main thing I'm asking you, and the question that you need to tell me, is will a wall produce income and not the minimum? I'm not talking about minuscule income. I'm talking about large income.
Well, you know, okay. Well, I think this is a good time to talk about your expertise, and that's solar. Why not make some kind of solar wall there?
Well, I have included that. I have included it, but we haven't gotten to where I'm at. That's the point.
And so, I'm for the wall, and I'm for it being paid for. But we need the wall. I don't have a problem with that. So let's find ways to pay for it.
Is that the only way we can do it?
Solar,
building a wall?
Solar, even
No. You see,
even the idea.
You're missing the point, John.
No, the people is that people voted for Donald Trump because he said he was going to put a wall there. And so people are tired of politicians lying to them. Okay, I'm tired of politicians lying to me. We voted for Donald Trump to put a wall there. Okay, now for us to turn around and say, look, we're not going to build a wall. We're going to do something else.
How about if we build something better?
That would be great.
Okay, well,
I don't have a problem with that. But let's do something.
Let me explain it.
No, but we got to do something.
No kidding. Did I say we weren't going to do anything? I said no, not the wall.
Put out the object.
It's real simple, okay? I'm asking you, do you know about the Berlin Wall?
Yes.
What was on either side?
There's a big empty space in between, like a yard, and
but beyond the big empty space, what was there? It wasn't that big a space. It was just a really high wall. But what was on either side beyond the no-fly zone, if you want to call it that?
Yeah.
What was there? Towns, villages, and peoples.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, when they took down the Berlin Wall, what happened? They were able to commingle and get back to trade again. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. Now, on the conservative side, remaining solar resources, renewable energy, and things of that nature. Suppose you had a structure. A structure.
What kind of structure?
I'm asking the questions.
Well, I already know the answer. I already know the answer, so if you want me to tell the answer.
You don't know the answer. I guarantee.
Well,
you don't know the answer.
the freeway concept that we talked about the other day, that you put a freeway in between there. I think that's sort of like a wall. That, to me, that works. Solar. It's going to be hard for people to be crossing in front of there. I don't have a problem with that.
Well,
but there has to be something that's done.
Well,
to make America safe.
I'm trying to get to that point, John. The point that is, yes, I talked about making 4 brand new lanes of highway. First thing. I also talked about high-speed transportation on an overhead system with its own electrical transmission lines underneath the grid, underneath the highway. I can't think of it right now, but I'll think of it in a second. But the point is that we have highways below and we have high-speed system above, and it's on a grid. Okay, the grid is something like a road. You have the road below, but you have the guideway is what it is. It's overhead guideway, or it's the overhead guideway. Now that guideway has the high-speed transportation on it. And that transportation system goes from one coast to the other. And this is not something that I have imagined in my mind. I put this together before 2009. I just put it on the internet in 2009.
Well, I wish you'd send it to me so I could promote it too, because I think it's a good idea.
Well,
I like it.
Well,
I'm not anti this idea. In fact, I think that's a pretty decent idea, and I wish somebody would start talking about it. In fact, I'm glad we're talking about it now.
Right. The problem that I had at the time that I made the presentation, Harry Reid was controlled, and Harry Reid had his own ideas about the Desert Express, and the Desert Express was a train to nowhere, a train into Victorville. And Victorville was just before.
I know where Victorville is.
Just before Cajon Pass.
Yeah.
And trains cannot go up more than a 3.5% grade.
Yeah.
Cajon Pass is 7%, and that's the reason it had to stop in Victorville. Now they're talking about moving it over to Palmdale, so that they're going to have a spur that runs over to Palmdale, and from Palmdale that's going to go into L.A. Well, it just added another 100 miles or so to the route, okay, to do the same thing that I do without all that problem, okay. Point is that an overhead transportation system has been around for hundreds of years. It's in New York, Philadelphia, Boston, and all the major cities. Some of them have actually got subways as well. But there's 2 modes of transportation that are predominant in places like New York: subways and overhead transportation. And again, it's been there for years. Now, does that mean that there's no traffic going back and forth? Of course there's traffic underneath. All right? So now, if you are doing it where you already own the space, like the Meridian, the spot in the middle of the highway that belongs to us, okay, we own that. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to get any permission to do it because we've already done it.
Yeah.
That belongs to us.
That's an easement.
It's an easement. Well, it's not an easement. It's actually, it's not an easement. It's actually, I'll think of the word again. Boy, I get to the point where I don't remember anything. The Meridian is the middle of.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
It's in between the highway. There's a highway here and a highway there. Usually it's about 100 feet wide. Okay, we own that. We don't have to go out and buy it. We own it.
Yeah.
All right. And because of that, we don't have to worry about the environmental because it's already been done. All the environmental work has been done. So now instead of going out and buying the land and purchasing land and trying to zigzag and everything else to make it work, we go right down the middle of the road and we avoid all of those costs. Now, in addition to that, with a high-speed transportation system and an electrified highway underneath, okay, why an electrified highway? Because that's the reason I put this together in the first place. Why? Back in 2007, 2006, when I was first putting this idea together, I was into electric vehicles and still am. I own 40 electric vehicles. I've had some of them taken away from me forcibly, but nonetheless, I still am into electric vehicles and I believe in them. We have Tesla that says they can do 200 miles on a full charge, and but I'm not even worried about that because the electrified highway, you don't have to. You can get on an electrified highway. You can go from here to New York or from here to LA and all the way back to New York without ever having to get off to charge your car. Never, because you're providing the power and charging your battery all at the same time.
Sure.
So there's no more 8-hour, 10-hour stopovers to recharge your battery. All right. So the cost of electricity is 10 times cheaper than gasoline. You can go. I forgot. 2 cents a mile. It's 2 cents a mile with electricity, and 14 to 16 cents a mile with gasoline or diesel. So you can see that there's a huge difference between that and the fact that you're getting this from the sun, as we talked about with the solar.
Sure.
If you can imagine 3,000 miles of
Is that how big the distance is between coast to coast?
it's 1,500 miles. No, it's more than that. But see, we go into Chicago, we go into Oklahoma, Texas, and those places there, and it's only 1,500 miles, about approximately 1,500 miles on both routes. But those routes, one is going through Salt Lake and into the Chicago Loop, and from the Chicago Loop, then they connect.
What would it cost for this super freeway or super highway?
Well,
because it would be considered to me a super highway. It would be an enormous opportunity. I mean, I like the idea. I think the concept is smart, and then it doesn't clutter up the scenery. You know, a freeway, people can use it.
We're taking the transmission lines off the landscape and putting them underneath the overhead.
It sort of it beautifies the environment too.
So, in addition to providing jobs, it also provides electricity.
So, how much money are we talking about to do it?
About $218 billion.
218 billion, and if you built in some kind of solar system in it too, you probably could regain some of that money back.
No, we'll regain most of it. The real reason is this. Now, you see, solar, and we're generating our own electricity, okay, but we have substations every 50 or 100 miles. I'm not sure which it will be at the moment. 50 to 100 miles where we have substations, and substations are there for the specific purpose of being for other people to take advantage of the infrastructure, sewer, water.
Who have you shown this project to?
I've shown it to several very important people. I showed it to the commander at the Air Force Base out here. You got to remember this. Harry Reid is so strong and so powerful that he will not entertain this idea for the simple reason that he wants the Desert Express, and he already has plans and money and locations that he thinks he can do this with. But he's still selling the same stupid product. He doesn't have anything about water, nothing about natural gas, nothing about electricity, and nothing about renewable energy. And he still has to put up, because all the trains are electric powered. The motors that run the wheels are electric motors. They generate their own electricity by turbo or big diesel engines, and that's how they get.
Well, send me the program, and if you want, I'll start promoting it, because I think you could get some definitely great feedback and information and resources.
Let me go on to tell you exactly why this works on the border. Okay? Because let's face it, if you have a high-speed transportation system and it's 1,620 feet wide, it's about 120 feet wide because the road is so downstairs. I'm only talking about and the actual structure is 60.
How about tearing down the existing wall that they have patches here and there? Would it be very expensive to do that to put?
It wouldn't be expensive, but you see, when this goes up, it's still going to have a wall on one side. Now, when I say a wall, I don't mean a real wall. It basically will be a glass or plexiglass, so that the Mexican side is blocked. Okay, so before they can get even into the freeway, they got to get through the plastic. Okay, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Plastic is plexiglass. Double sheet of plexiglass is bulletproof.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point is that we have the ability to do this and to provide the solar as we generate our own electricity. So here's where I need to correct you. From the very first mile, we get electricity, water, and natural gas that we sell and distribute. And in that first mile, we have our solar system, and that's where we get the electric from. We're selling the electric, and either we're selling the electric or we're using it to power our electric-powered high-speed transportation system. Now, this is something that's also been around for 100 years, except it hasn't used the correct propulsion system, and that is hovercraft.
Yeah.
Hovercraft requires no wheels and no rails, and it's been used successfully. I've gone across the English Channel for 18 years. 18 years of uninterrupted service, and the only reason they stopped is because they were using four Rolls-Royce engines that are burning up a lot of fuel. Our system doesn't, because it's turbo electric. Turbo electric, and turbo electric is as fast as any airplane can ever fly. We're able to do that. We have the propulsion.
How fast would you go on that freeway or superhighway?
We could do 500 miles an hour, but there's you really can't do that in populated areas. You don't want to do that in populated areas. You have to slow it down. But even now, the fastest train that we have in America is 125 miles an hour, and that's the Amtrak system. But the average speed for that Amtrak is 84 miles an hour. So you can see that above and beyond everything else, there's fast points and slow points. If you're going to cross the desert, you got 3 miles of uninterrupted travel or population, and you will, then you can do 300, 400, 500 miles an hour without blinking an eyeball. Because when you have an air cushion vehicle, you don't have any weight. You're just pushing air, just like a helicopter does. Exactly. Okay. This is not something that is brand new. Yes, what I've put together is a collective package, but there's already 2 of these, at least 2 in the United States. One is at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, and the other is at Detroit Airport in at Delta Airlines in Detroit. And so, but those are just people moves. They only do 30, 40 miles an hour, and they're only going a mile or 2, so they're not real speed. But the Chinese have got the magnetic lev. Well, the problem with magnetic lev is it's 10 times more expensive, and it doesn't do anything more than move people. So that's not what this system does. This system moves people, cargo, water, natural gas, and electricity. That's what it does. So as a result, we have these that are we distribute.
Can it move water?
What?
Water?
Yes. We take it from the high country and do it by gravity flow. For example, Lake Tahoe is at 6,600 feet, and that's how Virginia City got its water. We went to Lake Tahoe, we gravity flow all the way down to Virginia City.
Sure.
Virginia City sits at about 5,000 feet, and water always seeks its own level. That level is 6,600 feet, so they basically have to shut it off. Not shut it off, but tamper it down to where they're getting the water at the other end. But doing that from Reno to here is basically downhill, and with reservoirs in Battle Mountain and other places, and with water stops along the way for cattle and animals. Every 5 miles, you actually have a watershed that fills up with high gravity flow, and of course with a ballast to turn it on and off to keep the water level at a certain water. And so every 5 miles you're taking care of the cattle and all the animals, all the wild animals. And they only have to go 2.5 miles in either direction to get to the water, which is not very much for deer or sheep or
Who other than Harry Reid was in opposition to this plan?
Well, Harry Reid's got too much strength. He's got Sid Rogan. He had Greenberg, the guy at the newspaper, and he's got them in their pocket. He also had Nevada Power in his pocket, and all those people will not print anything.
Well, it's different now because now if the Las Vegas Journal now is owned by a new owner.
Yeah,
and so
he's a Republican, so there's a possibility of doing that. But and I'm not saying that I don't want to do it. I have contacted Senator.
The problem, let me tell you what the problem is going to be, is that they've already started moving in the direction of a wall.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Moving and doing something are two different things. It's going to be years before they even begin the construction. Okay, so I'm not worried about that. The point is, why do something that's obsolete before you build it? Why build something that's going to cost you money when you can have something that makes you money?
Well, the issue is that
the issue is money.
Well, it's more than money. It's the political will that was put out during this last campaign season. Because see, it seems like to a lot of people it does matter. It does matter.
You said we have to build a wall because he said we're going to build a wall, but instead he's going to build population centers. That doesn't make any sense at all. And put millions and millions of people to work on a permanent basis.
No, unfortunately, that is a political
football.
No, this is a political process that we've been through. We went through a very mean-spirited campaign, and Donald Trump won. So if Donald Trump
it doesn't mean that he can't build something better.
Well, I subscribe to that too. Fine. But the problem is that you have all this army of engineers and entities out there that are already started moving in that direction.
They're going to have to do.
They're already spending money. By the time you put out another plan, I'm not in opposition to your plan, Lou. You got to understand that. I'm not in opposition. I'm just saying that there is some definite obstacles in your pathway if you want to get that out there.
I want to get it out there for America. I don't care about what, just because, look, we've seen hotels here that become obsolete. We have had programs that are obsolete before they ever began. How about Obamacare? Is that obsolete?
Well, it was just a bad idea.
So are we going to correct it? So what's the difference now? We correct something before it starts, and all those engineers, all those engineers and everything that you're talking about have to do the survey and everything anyhow.
Well,
anyway,
let me tell you, the problem is that we have to do a better job of getting your plan out to the powers to be. Because if not, it's just another one of these ideas that just goes. You know how many plans there are to do things in the world? Lots. And lots of them aren't put out to where they need to go to be able to make it happen. So your plan sounds to be very reasonable, well thought out, well orchestrated. It's all right. Unfortunately,
builds. Yeah, I've got the only working model in the world.
Okay, and see, unfortunately, you have a lot of people that have
their own agenda,
own deals that have probably already been made out already, and own ideas on how to make money and how to put it in their pockets.
So did Hillary Clinton have this all planned out. And now she's gone, okay? And I'm saying the same thing.
Well, what you need to do is you need to get an appointment with President Donald Trump and get the show on the road, because if you don't, it's going to be another great plan just sitting there doing nothing, gathering dust.
Yeah, well,
So go out there and make it happen, sir.
we'll be talking about it more. The point right now is that we're out of time. We're going to wrap it up.
Lou, thank you for being on the show.
Hopefully,
Hopefully, you can come on whenever you'd like to, and we can get into these issues. I like to have a lively debate, and get people's situations up a little bit, because it makes us smarter people.
well, I have a lot of photos and information relative to what I was telling you.
Cool. And I think next time maybe you can bring some more visible stuff, so we can let the audience see this.
I had for years. I had a website that people could go and visit.
What you don't have a website anymore?
I lost it because I did get notified that it was being.
Okay, so anyway, folks, that was another show, Conservative America. Thank you. We'll see you again tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you very much. My name is John Estrata, Conservative America. God bless.
And it's only 100.